Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to look at the financial results, the quarterly earnings of a very important semiconductor company. The name is not that well known. If we look at the news or even the companies which are generally in highlight, this is not one such company, but it is an important player, it is a major player, and if you look at its market capitalization, you will come to realize how big business it is, and we have to see what is happening, how its earnings are faring, because in this ongoing AI frenzy, we also have the players like Broadcom, which are involved and given its deep expertise in the development of semiconductors and related softwares, we do have to see how it is up to capitalize on this AI wave, whether the company is leading or lagging. We can get a good overview of its developmental stage, and with that we also get to know the health of the sector. Now we will be going into the details, though of course I will not be looking at every minor details, but we will try to understand the broader outlook and how the company is faring, what the competition is, and what is its future projection. We will also consider its forward guidance and why, despite the higher earnings, the higher revenues, the company share doesn't really looking up. It is actually trading lower than where it was prior to the release of its quarterly earnings. This is the investors relation page, and here we have these highlights provided by the company, and we will go for its PDF version so we can take a better look on these financial statements. So here I have downloaded its quarterly statement. Now if we look at the revenues are up year on year, with its current quarter's revenues just little shy of $9 billion. So that's a good number and growth is there. But even when the market is showing much more interest and expecting higher earnings from the AI, the revenues are higher but not as high as expected. So that puts a question mark on the company's ability to capitalize on recent developments, or whether the investor interest was undue. So these two possibilities are there. It can be the shortcoming on the part of the company, or it can be also be the case of too high expectations, and those expectations will have to wait. These two things will have to converge, and that is the context in which we have to put the recent correction post the release of its quarterly earnings. The earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization stands at $5.8 billion. The non-GAAP EPS is in double digit, whereas it also bought back some 2.9 million shares, investing $2 billion in the process. The fourth quarter revenue guidance is higher both sequentially as well as year on year, with the expected increase of 4%. So this is a growth which is quite good, but it is not good enough from the investor's point of view. So that is also one of the factor which has dampened the mood of the investors in companies' shares post the release of its quarterly statement. Now let us look at the highlights of the third quarter of this financial year. The revenues are up 5% in terms of year on year. These are the numbers for third quarter of 2023 and third quarter of 2022. So this is the uptick in the revenue. Net income is also up with this change of quite a good magnitude. The net income is up almost 10 percentage point. Not 10 percentage point, I think close to 8 percentage point. I am being approx here, not precise. These are the cash flows from the operations with cash flow are in positive territory. If we look at its major segments, the semiconductor solutions are bringing in major chunk of revenues, while its other segment, the infrastructure software, it is also bringing in quite a good amount of money, just little shy of $2 billion. But its core business remains the semiconductor solutions. Now, if we look at the forward guidance for the fourth quarter of 2023, the revenue guidance is showing positive bias with expected increase of 4 percentage point year on year. And then we have the results pertaining to the dividend announcement. On the lower side, there is not much. We have this condensed consolidated statement of income. With this, you can look at the revenues and the cost of revenues and see if the operating margin is getting better or worse. If we look at these numbers, the operating income is lower sequentially, but it is higher annually. So these are two developments contrary to each other. Provision for taxes, net income is higher annually year on year. Gross margin. Now we will not go into the fine prints because that will take a lot more time. I would suggest that you go through these details of its financial numbers, see whether the company's financial prospects are getting better or worse. You can get a general idea of the trend, what is happening, how things are shaping up, and all that details which are quite relevant have been provided in these financial statements, and we can garner a good amount of knowledge and form an informed perspective on whether to go for fresh investment or whether to sit on the sidelines or whether to even look for short selling the stock. All these decisions can be taken after considering these fundamental and technical aspects. Now that we have looked at the fundamental aspects where we have seen that the revenue growth is there, the forward guidance is also on the higher side. But despite all this, we are not really seeing any immediate uptick in the share price. And for that, we will have to understand the technicals and why this is happening. So we now head to the JForex 4, the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the chart of the Broadcom, which uses AVGO as its listing code on the Nasdaq. Now, if you look at the charting of the stock for last couple of sessions, just in run up to the quarterly result announcement, it has rallied quite strongly from low to the high. It had rallied almost 10 percentage point, but once the announcement came in, it declined and it is now lower for the day and for the week as well. And the immediate outlook is not looking brighter either. We will have to look at how things are likely to develop, and for that we will have to give it some more time and allow it to consolidate. If we look at the charting of these shares, it has been consolidating close to these 900 level for last couple of months. In the month of May, it touched 909 level, and from there on it has been going sideways and moving back and forth between 900 and 800 level. Its recent low coming at 812. Now, whether it is going to consolidate and stabilize around this immediate swing low, or if it is going to decline further, that is something we will have to watch. And depending on that, you will be in a position to make a informed judgment. For the time being, I would suggest that this is not the time to short it, nor it is time to go long. Well, if we see that it holds these price levels and then slowly declines toward these prior swing low, in that scenario we can indeed give it a shot with the possibility of moving higher for two reasons. It can be a case of correction retracement from the low, as well as the possibility of renewed buying momentum after getting close to the prior swing lows can't be ruled out. So watch out for these 812 level, and that is something I think is going to hold quite a high importance in immediate future, because if it breaks and we see continuous decline, then it will be a signal of change of momentum. But if this level holds and we see stability returning, and stock also starts to show some signs of life with buying happening on the lower levels, then we can indeed take our next bet and expect the stock to rebound and go back above the 900 levels in coming days. But for the time being, nor it is time to short, neither it is time to go long. It is better to wait it out, allow these price moves to stabilize, and in the course of time over the next couple of days we will have the opportunities coming our way which we can then capitalize on. So that's my take looking at the trajectory of the company's share price in aftermath of its financial statements for the third quarter of financial year 2023, and looking at its fundamentals as well as technicals. This is the time, in my view, to wait, to sit on the sidelines, and after next couple of days, we will have to take a fresh assessment, and depending on the kind of technicals that are prevailing at that point in time, we will be in a good position to make a informed judgment and accordingly act. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous time ahead. You can Write to me in the feedback if you have any query on these stocks price move